Hello everyone, my name is Marissa and I'm going to show you today how to make this cute earring. And I am using size 8 white thread, dragon thread, and I'm using a size 11 beading needle. So it's just a one needle project. We're going to be using StormDuos, 11-0s, 15-0s, 8-0s, 4mm bicones, an earring wire, and a jump ring. Okay, so to begin, we're going to pick up trying to say this for, okay, well, a StormDuo like this, an 11-0, and then going in the opposite way from the one that I picked up. So like that, okay? And then we're going to do that 4 times. So, and then another one, like this, and then like this. So that's the second one. So I have 1, 2, and then I need to pick up 2 more. And be sure you check the holes of your StormDuos because you want to make sure that the holes are clear. So, and here's my last grouping. And then you want to check your groupings after you have all 4 of them. Okay, so I have 4 groupings of my StormDuos, and I will just separate them so we can just distinguish them better. 1, 2, 3, 4, and all of them, my StormDuos are going the correct way, and the holes are good. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to circle around, and I'm actually going to tie a knot. I don't know if I did this when I made my first one, but I'm just gonna do that now because it's just easier. I didn't use a stop bead, so I'm going to tie a knot. I'm sure it will still be fine. All right. So this is how our little component should look. And I'm going to go through it one more time. And what I mean by that is I'm going to go through all the beads. So go ahead and do that. I'm going to go through, here we go. Here's my first grouping, and it'd be great to stay in frame. So there we go. And then my next grouping here. And as we're going through these, make sure you don't skip through any beads, especially that little 11-0. It'd be easy to kind of skip that, but don't skip it. And my fingers are in the way, but I'm just holding my component, not adding anything, just reinforcing. So that's what I'm going to do. And another pair of earrings that I started kind of started similar to this. And so I hope you saw that tutorial and I hope you make it. I think it's called the Super Storm earrings. So that's a very fun pair to make. It's a big pair of earrings and I like big earrings, and they're big, but you know, they're light. So that's a plus in my book. All right. So when I am coming out of one of my StormDuos here, I'm going to go through my 11-0, and I'm going to go ahead and add my 4mm bicone that's going to be sitting in the center. So I'm going to add, coming out of the 11-0, I'm going to add another 11-0. I'm going to add my 4mm bicone and another 11-0. And then, oops, just one. And I'm gonna go ahead and coming out of my 11-0 here, I'm gonna go ahead and go through my 11-0 across from it, like this. And then I'm going to not add anything. I'm just going to go through all of these beads, the 11-0 bicone and 11-0. And I'm going to go back out of that 11-0 where I first started. Right here. And I can't see it, but if you're, when you're holding your project, you can see it. So it's just hard when you have to hold your piece away from you. So there we go. Got it? So here's what we have. Okay, now I'm actually going to finish going through a couple more of these because I'm not sure I went through all of them. So I'm going to do that now. And then I'm going to go ahead and sew to this StormDuo here. And I'm going to hop on over to the other hole. And I'm going to add a bicone in there. So pick up a bicone. Coming out of this StormDuo, I'm going to go through my next one. And then when we are here, in this spot here, that's above our, coming out of our StormDuo, but that's above our 11-0, we are going to add a 15-0, an 8-0, and a 15-0. So easy. Now coming out of here again goes a bicone. And then when we're coming out of our StormDuo here, that's above our 11-0, we're going to add a 15-0, an 8-0, and a 15-0. And then coming out of our StormDuo again over here, we're going to pick up a 4mm bicone. And so you can kind of see what I'm doing. You can kind of see the pattern so far for this step. And again, we're here and it's 15-0, 8-0, 15-0, and into my next StormDuo. Oh. Try not to tangle. And then coming out here goes another bicone. And then here's our last one where we add our 15-0, 8-0, and 15-0.
This month's Best Bead Box features 3 stunning kits for just $49.99. That's $10 off our regular price. Subscribe today and receive the Muted Moon bracelet, gem woven beaded bead necklace, and silver leaf earrings, all delivered free to your door. Each kit includes premium beads, wire, clasps, and full step-by-step instructions. You can cancel anytime, so there's no risk, only inspiration. Subscribe now at PotomacBeads.com. Together, we create.
Okay, so after we added our last bicone, go ahead and sew through your StormDuo, storm through your 15-0, and come out of your 8-0 bead. And now we're going to add some more beads above our 8-0s, and then some more beads above our bicones. So above our 8-0s, when we're coming out of our 8-0s, we're going to add 3 11-0s. So coming out of my 8-0, circling around and going back through it. And I'm just gonna get my tail out of my way. All right, like that. And then sew until you get, excuse me, to your bicone. And this is a little bit similar, again, to the other earrings that I made. Coming out of our bicone, it's going to be 2 15-0s, an 11-0, and 2 15-0s again. Okay, circle around your bicone, and then go ahead and go through your next beads. All right, I went through my StormDuo. Now I'm going to sew until I get to my next 8-0. And when I'm coming out of my 8-0 again, it's going to be 3 11-0s. Go back around through my 8-0 and then continue going through the 15-0, StormDuo, and to your bicone. Coming out of our bicone again, 2 15-0s, an 11-0, and 2 15-0s. Circle around your bicone and going through your next StormDuo and sew until you get to your 8-0. All right, so go ahead and continue this step and then I will meet you back. Okay, I finished adding my beads on the outside of my bicones and my 8-0s. And again, outside of your bicones, you should have 2 15-0s, an 11-0, and 2 15-0s. Outside of your 8-0s, you should have 3 11-0s. Now, when I finished, ouch, I sewed. I was coming out of an 8-0, and then from my 8-0, I just went to my 11-0, skipped this 11-0, and I'm coming out of this 11-0. So I'm coming out of one of these 11-0s. Now I'm going to pick up an 8-0 and a 15-0. And I'm going to go through these 2 15-0s of my bicone. And I'm going to skip the 11-0 in between them. And then I'm going to go through my next 15-0s. And when I'm coming out of my 15-0s, I'm going to add a 15-0 and an 8-0. So coming out of these 15-0s, I'm picking up another 15-0 and an 8-0. And then I'm going to go through this 11-0 here. I'm going to skip this 11-0 in the middle, and I'm going to come down this 11-0 after it. And I'll pull tight while I'm holding everything and pulling so that my middle bead will stick out. Okay, so coming out of that 11-0 goes a 8-0 and a 15-0. And again, I'm going to go through these 15-0s, only the 15-0s. And I'm going to skip that 11-0 that's in the middle of them, and I'm going to go through my 15-0s that are on the other side of it. And when I'm coming out of my 15-0s, I'm going to add another 15-0 and an 8-0. Oops. And an 8-0, and then I'm going to go through these 11-0s here. Once again, skipping the middle 11-0. So go ahead and finish this step, and I will show you what to do after that. Okay, I'm sorry I had to pause for a moment because it sounded like someone was watching a horror movie in my house. Okay. While I was trying to record. All right, now I'm coming out of this last 15-0, and now this is the section where I'm going to add my earring wire. So since we're going to do this little component here, these 3 11-0s, I'm not gonna do the thing where I skip the middle one so it'll pop out. I'm just gonna go through all 3 of them, okay? That, because if I do that, it's gonna, because I'm gonna have to go through these a few times and it's gonna get too tight if I do it that way. So I'm just gonna go through, whenever I need to go through these 3 11-0s, I'm gonna go through all 3 of them. But first, coming out of this 15-0 here, I'm gonna pick up another 15-0, an 8-0, and then I'm gonna go through these 3 11-0s, and I am going to be adding an 8-0 when I come out of my, and again, going through all 3 of them, and I am going to add an 8-0 when I come out of the last one. And okay, so that's my third 11-0. Now I'm going to add another 8-0. Whoops. I'm going to add a 15-0. And then I'm going to go through these 2 15-0s. And now this is where I started. This is the part where I started. So I have all of the beads. And again, this is where I'm going to add my little component for the earring wire. But I'm coming out over here on this side. I'm going to go ahead and sew all around my piece. I'm going to be skipping the middle 15-0s here from these sections. And I'm also going to be skipping the 11-0s from these little sections, just the way I did right now in this step. Well, in the step where we just added those. I'm just gonna go around until I get back up here again, skipping, of course, these middle beads, okay? Once I'm coming out of this 8-0 here, back up here at the top, I will meet you back. Okay, I went around and now I'm coming out of my 8-0 here. And again, my bicone is the way I want it to be to match this one. Coming out of my 8-0 here. And I added on my thread a 15-0, a bicone, an 11-0, a bicone, and a 15-0. Coming out of this 8-0, I'm going to circle around, go through this 8-0, and come out of this one again. So I'm just going to hold it in my hand because it's easier. And I'm going to go through all of these beads. And again, I'm not going to skip any of these 11-0s. And then I need one more 11-0. And then my 8-0, okay? Now I'm going to pull tight, go through my 15-0 and my bicone, and just my bicone. And I'm going to add a 15-0. Now, if I didn't have my 8-0 attached to this already, I would just be picking up an 8-0. But since I have it attached, well, you're gonna see all of this with it. So I'm picking up my 8-0 that's attached already to my jump ring. And then, so here we go. And then another 15-0. And I'm going to go down this bicone here and out of the 15-0 after my bicone. Like that. Oh, I just want to make it neater. Okay, so now I'm coming out of my 15-0 here on this side after my bicone. Again, I'm going to sew through this 8-0. These 3 11-0s come out of my 8-0 here. And then I'm going to go through that little section again. Be careful not to get your thread not caught on anything, since we have a lot of like beads that are kind of like poking out, sticking out, a lot of sticky outies. So don't get your thread caught in any of them. And don't get your 15-0 after your 8-0, but that's part of your regular, you know, the one that's right here. Okay, now I'm going to go back up through this 15-0, up my bicone, and as I said, I'm going to go through this little section again, which is the 15-0, and if you have to go through it one at a time, go ahead. The 8-0 and the 15-0 after it, come out of my bicone. Now I'm going to, because see how it's kind of, and you know, you can leave it like this. I'm going to add just 2 more 15-0s, and I'm going to do that by going through this 15-0 here. I'm going to go through this 8-0, and then I'm going to come out of my middle 11-0 here. See my grouping of 3? I'm going to come out of my middle one, out. And here is where I'm going to pick up a 15-0. I'm going to go through this 11-0 here. Okay, let me put it down so I can show you. I'm coming out of my middle 11-0 here. I picked up a 15-0, and I'm going to go through this 11-0 here in between my bicones. When I come out, I'm going to pick up another 15-0 and go through this 11-0 again. So I'm going to do that now. Going through that one. And then one final 15-0. And then I'm going to go back through this middle 11-0. And if you want, you can reinforce that, but I don't really think it needs it. Okay, so just to fill in that little space. So now from here, I'm just going to sew out, and I'm going to make some knots, and I will make a knot probably before this 11-0. I'm here, I'm just going to sew out. I'm going to make a knot before this 11-0 and put my thread in there. And then I'll probably make a knot before this 8-0 and put my thread in there. So make as many knots as you think you need. Reinforce your piece if you think it needs it. I'm going to go ahead and finish this up by doing that, and then I will meet you back. Okay, and here are my finished earrings. So I just came out, like I said, and I have to burn this thread down, but I tied a knot before this 11-0 and then brought my string in through the 11-0. And even though we skipped this 11-0, it's not going to do anything to your project if you tie a knot and bring your thread through it, because we already did that pass like 2 times to make it stick out, so it's not going to mess it up. And then I made another knot before this 8-0, and I brought my thread out here. So this is what we have. These are the ones, this is the one that I just made to this one to complete the pair. And these are some other ones that I made with using some coral color bicones. So this is what you should have. You should have something similar. You can also add instead of doing a jump ring up here above the 8-0 on these, I did a wire guard. But so you can use a wire guard. You can also make a little loop with seed beads. Also at the bottom, if you want to embellish these a little bit more, you can add a teardrop or just something hanging here at the bottom. So, you know, you can change these out as much as you like and just have fun with them. Okay, so this is what you should have. I hope you enjoy making these, and thank you very much for watching.